Alrighty, today I'll be explaining to you how to be a professional Little Nick Bomber, aka Minotaur style raiding beast. Now, a lot of people just say, oh, you just drop Pokeduke Cupid and, use your 8 of 8 War God, Nick. Actually, those aren't the credentials that are needed, nor is that how simple it is to use. As seen in my last video, I did drop a flame due to not following the criteria and needed steps to doing Minotaur, our little Nick, where I call him Little Minnow Bombing. I use the term Little Minnow because I'm using Little Nick as a Minotaur chieftain, so therefore it is nice to just have an acronym for it so people don't get confused that it's actually a Minotaur. So I'm gonna go over what you need, just the bare minimum, and what you can replace in terms of talents, what level skills you need, and what heroes you can use to make this raiding style successful. Now, as you've seen in the first, if you've watched my previous videos, I have an 8 of 8 Nick. Now, the criteria for Nick is not so much his talent is necessary. You can actually use Bulwark or War God in terms of his talent, and the minimum requirement for his talent level is 7 of 8. You don't really need 8 of 8 War God. I've done this before. 7 of 8 War God works just as well. 8 of 8 is just insurance for those higher tier heroes that you want to do damage to, but you're going to one-shot the buildings anyway. What's important is you have your Nick skill to 9 of 10 or 10 of 10. 9 of 10 is much more risky because, as I will go over right here, the Nick, it's all about his critical strike. If he does not crit, he will not one-shot. Now, his crit, I think it does a multiplier of 1.5 damage, it's 50% more damage, or in some cases I've seen it actually double damage, so that's why you want that 90% crit rate. 75% crit rate is a little too risky because out of 25 targets, 25% of them will miss, whereas 25 targets, only 10% of them will not crit, is much better odds for you to one-shot buildings and such. In terms of his proc, you actually need his proc up. You need at least a minimum, well, I want to say you need Revite on him, but you need a level of Revite to where, or you need a timing of high level Valentina or Cupid to get him to proc just before his snow comes down, which targets every 6 seconds. So if you'll notice, his crit is active 12 seconds, and his freezing is every 6 seconds. Now, I feel like the crit rate and stuff actually takes a bit longer than that, because I've had it to where both snows that come down are crits, so you want to time your Cupid accordingly to that. So I'm going to try demonstrating that raid here. I'm going to remove my Skull Knight and put in Cupid. So what you want, this is what you don't want to do. What you don't want to do is this. Now I have 3-5 Revite on my thing. You don't want to do this. You don't want to just drop right away and have him proc. Because if you pay attention closely here, he'll proc, and then look at his next proc, right? And he doesn't have his buff, and his next hit is weak, right? So you only get 15 targets hit with the critical strike active. Now, if you time it correctly, you'll have this result where you'll hit 1, 2, 3, and then you drop Cupid, and then boom, he procs. Now, actually, there's a bunch of reflect on that base, which I didn't check for, which I normally do with Ares, so I should have been more aware of that. Let me go ahead and make sure there's no reflect here. This is Michael, so there's probably going to be reflect on that base. I don't want to have to deal with the Nick proc. Let's see here. I have Skull Knight at that end. Okay, so you want to go Nick here, right? And you want to wait until his next proc. So you wait about 6 seconds. Alright, and then you drop Cupid. And then boom. There's one proc. Now you'll wait. You'll see the second proc come down, and boom, the second proc is active with his skill. So he'll hit 30 targets with his skill active rather than only 15 targets. So it'll double the damage you do. So it'll do, if he has a multiplier of 500% damage, it'll do 1000% damage rather than just 500%. You see how that works? Now, you have to get this timing right when you're doing this method. So you want to wait here. Like I said, you're going to wait a bit. And boom, right when he's about to go. Oh wait, that was sloppy because the town hall, the army camp didn't have enough HP. But yeah, you want to get, that's the first step, like rule, I would say, of this method, is you have to get Nick to get crits twice. So I'll explain it one more time because that guy, this is the most important part of the method here, because you won't have a second time to hit buildings. You want to get him to where he's not going to proc right away. He's going to proc just a little bit delayed. So there's one. You're going to wait about 5 seconds here. Alright. And then you go drop. And then right when he goes, boom, you get one crit. Now watch the second crit come down. Alright. And the next time, boom, he gets another crit. So it's a huge, significant difference. Do not forget to delay your cupids and delay the proc of your Nick. So that's the first step. Now the second step is you're going to need Ares if you're not using Tree. Now you can replace Ares and Tree in terms of who you're going to use. I would prefer, I haven't actually experimented with Tree simply because I don't have a 5 revive Tree. However, Tree in this method can be replaced. I'll explain that later, but for now I'm using Ares. Ares is to prevent the procs of heroes such as Anubis, such as what's his name, Harpy Queen, and so on and so forth. Therefore, your Nick does not get debuffed. If your Nick gets debuffed, you will not kill the buildings, you will not kill the heroes, you will lose. Because debuffs are the most significant weakness of them. Now, typically with this method, how I'm using it is I use, as you can tell when I did those raids, only about 6 buildings were left, right? Because 15 and 15 targets. 100% chance you're going to kill 30 buildings, right? And let's say in this base, I actually don't know the exact numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. So about 50 buildings, right? Let's round it to 50 buildings. Your Nick's only going to kill 30, guaranteed. So, how risky is it going to be to do this method? Well, you can pretty much guarantee that Nick is going to kill about a minimum of 3 buildings with just his hits. Your Pumpkin Duke's going to kill a building with a couple of hits. That's 2 buildings down. Your Cupid is, and then your either you could replace Heartbreaker with a Blitz Scroll on Vlad, or you could just use Heartbreaker, which is also immune stun, to destroy some of the buildings. So you want to just destroy, in this case, about 10 to 15 buildings, right? So if your Heartbreaker kills 10 buildings, so we'll go like this. Let's just show you guys how the method works here. Alright, boom. Pumpkin Dude's gonna proc, Ares is gonna proc, preventing any debuffs. There's one proc, and now keep an eye on the Nick. When he procs again, look what happens. There are no buildings left. That even if my other heroes died, let's say my Harpy Queen or my Heartbreaker died, my Pumpkin Duke died, my Ares died, my Cupid died, no matter what, my Nick is going to still get his second proc off. And his Pumpkin Duke buff, Cupid buff, and his proc is still active. Therefore, even without hitting buildings, this is why I call it a little bit safer than Minotaur, is because with Minotaur, you hit once, you're done. You're over 50%, 100% of the time. With Nick, that's true, but you don't have a time for, you know, extra buildings to hit to proc again. Whereas Nick, you don't need those buildings. So, once again, with Heartbreaker, you don't have to focus on the Town Hall. A lot of people keep telling me, oh, you really need to get rid of the Town Hall. That's only with Minotaur has that focus. My Nick one-shots the Town Hall. So I don't have to focus on, oh, I need to get the highest, you know, building first. No, I need to kill the most amount of buildings first with my Heartbreaker instead of just killing the Town Hall and send troops in the middle, because my Nick does so much damage he doesn't have to worry about not one-shotting the building, which is a weakness in Minotaur. Yeah, if you look at Minotaur videos, you'll find that they're always leaving a arrow tower with blue garrisons, a Town Hall, or a hero base even at times. Whereas Nick, it's just 100% of the time you're missing those buildings. You need to kill them with, or damage them with your Vlad, your Dredrick, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go over here. Well, actually, I'm not going to use this base because troops. I'm not going to be too easy with PD stacks. So for this base, I'm not going to focus on the town hall. I'm going to focus on the building. So with the base like this, I want to throw it over here. All right, I want to make Nick walk a bit, make Punkadook walk a bit, then Cupid, and then Ares. And see how my Heartbreaker's taking out the buildings mostly? This also works, like, people assume that I'm doing this to kill the heroes. I really don't care if the heroes live or not. I just don't need them to proc. If they proc, like their Ares proc, I could live through Ares proc. But if they're, let's see here, was there anybody of a threat here? If they're Grim procs on my Nick, I'm done. I can't have anything debuffing my Nick. So as long as my Nick stays buffed and with this proc up, I will never lose. And I'll show you guys this here too. Have my Nick walk there, have my Punkadook walk there, and then Ares. And actually, I didn't see the significant difference in damage when my Nick doesn't get his proc up before he gets to the base. You have to get him to proc at least once. So we'll go up here. Trying to find a more difficult base to show this method on. I guess this is a decent level. You'd put him there, Punkadook here, you want to get the stacks off over there, Cupid, and then Ares go. Oh, my Nick, my Nick didn't get his proc off because he's slow at dropping at the moment, apparently. I really want to kind of demonstrate this on a more difficult base if I can. I have Dreadrake and Goblet, Life Drain, and actually you don't want Life Drain, you want him on Bulwark. Your Heart, this you don't want to revive. I actually have this set up from our Archdemon. So what you want is Punkadook on Blitz Scroll. You want him on this pet so he'll have the double chance of not being stunned. You want him on Revive 3. You have your 5 Revive Cupid. You have your Nick on Revitalize 3 with Acts of Strife. You also want him on the Phoenix pet because Phoenix can hit for 20k damage. Let's see. Ares 5/5 Revive, of course. I also have Sideshow on him. Revive works just as well. Yeah, I think that's about it. So we'll go ahead and see if we can't find someone at the top. Might hear text out. I don't know. I'm not gonna get that lucky. A lot of people to attack, but no. It's just people are. Why does it say they're online and let their shields down? Oh, hello. So here's a high might base here. I'm not sure if I could do this with a. Is that a Anubis? Yeah, that's an Anubis. So with a base like this, I don't think I could do it simply because of the Anubis there. Because this method, it does have a weakness, which is the Anubis. The Ronin is a weakness too, but not so much as Anubis. Because it's a stone skin Anubis, then I can't destroy its energy in time. However, I will go ahead and give this base a try, I believe. Like I said, this is only one try. This is not Guild Wars, I don't get unlimited tries, so I'm expecting to fail this. But, I'm gonna kind of show you guys how I would approach this if I were to, like, check talents with Ares and all that. Which I can't do because if I do, it'll run out of time and probably someone will fight him. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop my Harpy Queen over on this. I'll probably drop it over on near this Grimfiend. It'll prevent the Grimfiend from stacking or proccing and debuffing my Nick in the future. And I'll be using Nick over here as a something to proc on with my Ares and such. So we're gonna put Heartbreaker here, Nick here, Punkadook here, and then Cupid, and then we'll drop Ares accordingly onto the left over here, and we'll see how that works. Now we'll see how this works. Go ahead and drop you, Nick, Punk. Oh wait, he has the new hero there. Yeah, new hero. I'm not. I didn't even realize the new hero was on this. You're not doing this method with the new hero. I couldn't even see that the new hero was there because of the stealth. So yeah, we're not doing that base. If you have the new hero, you pretty much, you know, perfect Guild Wars defense. I haven't developed a counter for that yet. I'd have to use troops and such. I can't do that with, you know, just classic rating. Trying to show another high base here without the freaking new hero. Is this the base we just attacked? Yeah, that's the new hero. This is the same base I just attacked. This is the same one too. Yep, same. New hero's there too. Alright. Well. New hero on this base too? Yep, new heroes on this base too. Well, we're not doing that base. It's not that I can't do the higher bases like that with the new hero, it's just I don't have the troops to do it with them. I'm not gonna hire troops every time just to do that. Is that the new hero there? Yep, it's the new hero there. Alright, well. Everyone spent money on this hero. IGG making that dough. So, you know, go feed IGG, guys. You know, pay for my game, please. I'm free to play. Yep, okay, there's another one with the new hero already. Okay, let's just keep going down here. Get rid of past all the money bags up top. The pay to win, as I call them. Not pay to play. It's just pay to win at that point. For how much money they're spending to get the new hero on like the second day it's been out. For this base, I think it's a high-end base. I don't know if I consider it too high-end. Since there are troops, I will have to use Dread Drake right off the bat. I'd have to put him on Phoenix and stuff too, so I'm not sure if I'll do that base. I mean, I could try it with my Dread Drake on Blitz, but he's not even on Doom Balloon, I just realized. Maybe I can just... No, I can't do that. I'm not gonna be bothered with, you know, going too try hard on this strategy here. I just kind of want to do it without having to go with troops. Because the troops are easy to handle. Everyone knows how to handle them. It's just, you know, I don't have unlimited tries, as I said, because this is just classic rating. This base is almost too easy, so I'm just gonna skip it because it's too easy. What about this base? New heroes on it? No, yeah, maybe so. Okay, well this is a decent base then. With this one, I guess I can use my tree, or what's her name? My whatchamacallit to kill the troops. Nah, she's not gonna kill the troops fast enough. The problem is I just can't deal with troops when I have the when I'm raiding instead of Guild Wars. Here's a classic base. This is what I typically fight in my Guild Wars. I find that it's a strong, balanced base. But probably all these heroes are stone skins, so my Nick will be one-shotting them. So what I'll be doing here is I'll be putting my Heartbreaker up here, putting my Nick here, Punk and Duke there, Cupid, and then Ares. Alrighty, and then that will handle most of the heroes in the middle as well. I'm gonna stun those heroes with my Dread Drake before they hit my Harpy Queen, or not Harpy Queen, Heartbreaker, and that'll be the end of that base. So that was a flip page 24 base. So that's you know, one example. As you tell, I waited there to use my Cupid, so my Nick got the benefit for both procs. Let's see here for this base here. I think there's Anubis. No, there's not. That's Michael and Nick. So with Nick, typically you want to drop troops and time it correctly. So instead of dropping with, you know, troops and stuff, I'm gonna have to just kind of guess the time. I don't really know the time off the top of my head. So we're gonna put Nick, or my, because you don't want to drop your Heartbreaker on Michael's side. You want to drop him on the opposite side of Michael. So we're gonna put her there. And we'll have our Nick drop him way out here a bit, and Punk and Duke, Cupid, and then Aries at the last one. And boom, there's one shot. As you can tell, the hero is still alive because they have stone skin, but it doesn't matter because once my next Nick proc comes, oh, let's say, oh no, all my heroes died, right? Oh, what a tragedy, right? I don't actually have my Dreadrake on Doom Balloon. However, this is how you would approach this base. You would put your Dreadrake as insurance on the very right up here, where the walls, to make him walk the most. So once I drop him, that'll be 92%. And typically I would have Doom Balloon, so I would have already won. However, I'm going to let this play out. He probably has, scatter, so I'm probably not going to get the proc. Yeah, with a Doom Balloon, I would be able to just do that. So, in that circumstance, I won. However, I just didn't put my Doom Balloon on my Dreadrake. However, that's how you would handle that. You would expect your heroes to die. Then, oh, well, my heroes, since they died, it doesn't matter. They only have, a few things left. I'll just use my, Dreadrake with Doom Balloon. Which he wasn't on Doom Balloon at that time, so that's why I lost. But, yeah. Now, what was I going to show here? I was going to show... Oh, yeah, I am free to play, as I see a couple people putting in the chat right now. This is 10k gems from Tapjoy, so I'm not going to go too much into that. I'm going to do some Lost Battle. I'll talk about this a bit. When you're using this method, you can replace... I'm going to go over here as you can replace now. Typically, I run the setup... When I first started this setup, I ran Dreadrake, I ran Pumpkin Duke, of course Nick, Aries, Vlad on Blitzscroll, and Cupid. Now, the strategy behind this is, of course, your Nick kills the buildings, your Pumpkin Duke buffs Nick, and your Cupid buffs Nick. But your Aries is not used to kill the heroes, it's used to delay the heroes' procs for debuffs, as I've explained before. You don't want Harpy Queens proccing, you don't want, any debuffing pets proccing, or debuffing heroes proccing, such as Anubis as well. Dreadrake is kind of your safety net. You can replace him for, Tree, or not Tree, but, you can replace Aries, for Tree. You can also replace, who else here? You can replace your Vlad, Vlad or Heartbreaker for a Tree and keep your Dreadrake. Whatever way is safer in terms of the base you're fighting. If you replace the Tree though, or your heavy damage dealer, expect to lose every time because your Nick only hits 30 targets. So you'll be relying on your Aries or your Tree to revive your Dreadrake and do a ton of damage. So if you have a War God Dreadrake or a Bulwark Dreadrake, that's probably the safer method. However, since I have a Bulwark Vlad and a double evolved Heartbreaker, the safer method from my account, technically right now, is going to be the Vlad and the Heartbreaker strategy instead of the Tree. Since my Tree is not 5/5 revitalized, that won't benefit me much. Now, in terms of different options, in terms of Nick, there's not really a different option with Nick. You have to have Nick for this strategy to work. He's the only hero you can't replace. Now, Pumpkin Duke can be replaced with Michael. Cupid can also be alternatively replaced with Michael. If you have a 4 Revite crest on Nick, you could replace Cupid. However, if you only have a 3 Revite crest, you'll probably need Cupid just to guarantee proc in time. And timing is everything with this set drop. If you can manage to snipe the heroes, that's good, but like I said, this method is, centered around killing the buildings. If you were to set this up to where you were killing heroes instead, now I've heard people suggest this a lot and I do not recommend it. I will say it again before I explain this method. I do not recommend this method. If you don't have Dreadrake and you don't have a Tree and you don't have Vlad, someone brought up this situation to me where they have the Nick, they have the Aries and stuff, and they have Pumpkin Duke and Cupid, right? But they don't have Dreadrake, they don't have Vlad, and they don't have her. Now in that situation, you're gonna want to do, and once again I don't recommend this, you use Warlock. And people are, I know in the comments are like, wait, what? You're not going to be using Nick as a bomber now, you're going to be using Nick as a sniper. Because if you've noticed, Nick prioritizes heroes and troops over buildings. His proc is not random. It is much like Spirit Mage, which is much like Grizzly Reaper, which is much like Thunder God, which is much like Nick. They all target in this order: troops, heroes, and then buildings. Nick just hits so many targets, 15, that you don't notice this. Now, there is chances that Nick will miss, and of course that's, you know, to be expected at times, as well as Grizzly. There's times he'll miss troops and hit heroes, and vice versa. For this, you want to use, as a sniper type method, you'll be using Nick, Ares, Punkenduke, Cupid, then you'll be using Warlock as well as a sniper backup, and you'll be using an alternative sniper such as Grizzly or I wouldn't recommend Pixie because Ares is going to be shutting down Calamity, or shutting down Skull Knights and removing you know, chances for transformation, so Pixie would not be a good option for this. I would recommend more someone along the lines of how would I put it here? Yeah, Grizzly or Warlock, one of the two. Or both, more preferably. You can also use Santa, someone suggested, because Nick's gonna 100% guarantee you that you're gonna, you know, blow up a base. Let me kind of show this strategy off. Like I said, I do not recommend this strategy at all. You can actually use Nick as a sniper. So we'll use, let's see here. Who was I gonna say? Santa, right? We're using Warlock first. So we're gonna put Warlock in for Heartbreaker's spot. And you're going to be using, where's the other hero? Not Ulam, you're gonna be using, yeah, I'm gonna put my Grizzly and then my Grizzly Reaper, which is right here. Okay, so I'm gonna put those defenses back up here, just temporary. Okay. Put this right here. And these aren't the best crest setups, so, you know, don't expect phenomenal results. I'm just gonna go ahead and revive these heroes. I know it's a little late, but whatever. Whatever, I just want to get this point across. So in terms of, let me find a decent list here. Now I don't have crest on my Warlock or Grizzly, so, you know, don't expect too much. But what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to time Warlock and Grizzly to proc at the same time your Nick does. So you'll be dropping, if you don't have revive on either of your Grizzly or your Reaper, you're gonna want to drop them, let them get to about half energy. Then you're gonna want to drop your Nick, your Punkenduke, and then time your Cupid in Ares. So once again, you'll drop him over there, that there. Then you drop your Nick, and your Cupid, and then you drop your Ares. And that should all time accordingly at the same time, where everyone snipes out the heroes right away. You're still at 48%, so you could still back out. See how that method works there? Because the only person you have proccing is Nick, and 15 targets is not enough to get 50%. So if you do not see all the heroes die in the first proc, you can just press back out. Now it is not a very safe option, but it is an option. Like I said, you can go, let's say, on this base here. We'll go put you there, Nick there, okay. Wait for a bit, let him get a couple procs, alright. Then Punkenduke, and then Cupid. Because once I drop that Nick down, I have a timer. That's why I wait to do it. And then boom, all the heroes are gone. You see how that method works? You got Grizzly Reaper doing damage to the heroes, you got the Warlock doing damage to the heroes, and you have Nick doing the heavy hit. So that's how you want to do that. Let's just check if anyone's attacking the Guilders right now. Yeah, that was 1 hour ago, so we're not too worried about anything now. I did drop one flame last time because I was being reckless and I didn't wait for my Nick proc, because I didn't expect to have time to stream today, but I did, so oh well. You know, the more you know. This is actually the only time I've actually dropped a flame with this method in this particular guild. So yeah, that's how I would recommend doing that if you were missing those certain heroes. However, the most recommended setup for this strategy is, I'll go ahead and go over it again. Apparently I'm missing somebody. That I put in a totem here. Yeah, Drake. A fly back in, oh, not a fly, but I don't even know, Grim back in there. Alrighty. So I hope this does answer some of you guys' questions. If you guys do have any other more questions about this method, please let me know. Let me go ahead and set up the crest exactly how you want them. So once again, for Drake, you're gonna want him 9 to 10. You want him a damage crest, and you're gonna want him on Goblet so he can take more punishment and proc more often. You want him on Doomblin as well. For Punkendick, you want him on Berserk. Typically, if you have Revite, then you want him on Sprint or Revite crest, or Sprint or Berserk crest. You typically want him on Blitzscroll, but if you don't need him, if you're gonna use the anti-stun on your Vlad instead, you want him on Lightning Rock. Now, you're going to want the pet Majestic Shield on him to grant him immunity to stun and fear. Keep in mind that this only applies to the lowest HP hero, so if your lowest HP hero isn't Punkenduke, then this method will work for anti-stun. Your Ares needs to be around 4 or 5 Revite or higher, or else don't bother using him because you need him to proc accordingly to your Nick, and without Revite 4 or higher, it's going to be hard for you to do that. I have him on Lightning Rock just to increase his dodge rate and speed for him to get his next proc off if that is needed. Your Vlad, you're going to want a damage talent, of course, and put him on a type of Revitalize set or a War God set if you have Revite talent, which I highly doubt. You want him on you want him on Blitzscroll for stun towers, and Axe of Strife or Goblet for arrow towers if he's not getting a proc off in time. Your Cupid, of course, you want in Revive Crest because a hero that has a Revite talent will revive with 100% of their HP if they have a 5/5 Revite again. You want them in Victor's Emblem, a Goblet, or Lightning Rock. One of those 3 is fine, depending on what you're dealing with in terms of damage or Drake's proccing. And that about covers it, so I hope that answered everyone's questions. I'll just go ahead and show the method here one more time. Now this is a little bit more challenging base for this method, I will admit, but you're just going to want to put your Heartbreaker in a spot where there's the least amount of damage, which in this case will be versus this non-Revite Punkenduke. So you're gonna put him over there. Alright, then you're gonna put Nick there, then you're gonna drop that, keep your Ares ready. And I don't actually have a building for Ares or proc on, which is really sloppy of me. But yeah, so like I said, it doesn't really matter even though because this Rax is just really easy heroes and a really easy base. Let me try if I can find one more difficult before to end this video here. Because I just wanted to get my main points across. I will also answer questions if you guys have any at this time in chat. About the method, of course. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any suggestions, ideas, or see anything wrong or that can be improved of the method. But this is how it pretty much looks if you've mastered it. You just time that correctly. There goes a 1 proc, and then the next proc's going. And then boom, next proc's done, and that will guarantee you 100% on any base. So that I hope you guys can like and subscribe to my channel if you like the content that I produce. I love to give feedback on HP and bases, dungeons, and such. If you have any difficulties or struggle in the game mode, in any type of game mode, I should say, whether it be Lost Realm, HPM, Hero Trials, etc., etc., etc. Like I said, I've explained the alternatives you can put in place of Nick and the requirements and prerequisites of what you can do and don't do in terms of rating. You don't want to use your Cupid too early because you need to keep your Nick's procs or Nick's buff to be active on both of his snow procs. So keep that in mind when you're using this method. Also, another few points here before I end it off. Pumpkin Duke, mine is Blitz 5 and Revite 3. You don't need Blitz 5 and such, you just need him to have Revite to where he will buff your Nick before he procs. The Heartbreakers talent on my account right now is 4 Deadly Strike. It really does not do much for her, however it does help her in hand-to-hand engagements with some heroes such as Golems, applies more damage. However, the recommended talent I would suggest for this method, not in general, for this method you would want a Bulwark. I say a Bulwark over a War God because you'll need HP to tank towers at times and it'll increase your healing factor. The War God may one-shot like more effectively and actually heal her more damage. However, the extra 60% HP will help you tank procs such as Dread Drakes, Warlocks, and let's say the worst comes to shove, Anubis and whatnot. Whereas a War God will not help you in that situation. You always want her on Artifact Access Drive in any situation because of the crit rate. Increasing her crit rate is vital with her proc since it does 2.5 times more damage when she actually crits, which is not a benefit that all crit hits get. It is only specifically to her. It is multiplies her damage by 2.5 when she crits. So let's say damage that does 100 damage would proc. She would do 250% damage if the ends up being a crit. So yeah, I would say that pretty much covers the method in its entirety. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have questions, comments, or concerns, please do let me know. I really appreciate any feedback, whether it is negative or positive feedback, and I respect all feedback as well. So I will see you guys again in the next video and stream, and I hope you guys learned something from this, and that you can apply this strategy to maybe your guild wars rating or wherever you do please have it. So yeah, I will catch you guys in the next one, and you guys have a nice day. Later.